It's no secret that Americans are more divided than ever. And it's not just over what policies will improve our great country. No, it's over whether America is great at all, whether America deserves our love. That's why Imprimis is so important. Imprimis looks at the issues of the day from a constitutional perspective, reminding citizens always of our great heritage of liberty. For more than 50 years, Imprimis has featured speeches from the smartest conservative thinkers and writers at Hillsdale events. These days, Hillsdale publishes people like Molly Hemingway, Andy Puzder, Harmeet Dillon, and Chris Rufo. Over 6.4 million American households and businesses receive Imprimis absolutely free. And I urge you to sign up for it today at no charge. To get your free lifetime subscription, go to hillsdale.edu/lifetime right now. Or text the word Imprimis to 71844 and we'll send you a link to sign up for your free lifetime subscription. That's IMPRIMIS to 71844.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Bubble, a Hillsdale College Career Services production where we take you outside the classroom and into the professional arena to bring you special tips and tricks from recent alumni in all areas of practice. This show is part of the Hillsdale College Podcast Network. More episodes at podcast.hillsdale.edu or wherever you find your audio. I'm Lauren Scott, and joining me today is Susan Peterson, a Hillsdale grad and the Principal Gifts Officer at Mayo Clinic. Hi, Susan. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Lauren. It's great to be with you.
Tell me what a day in the life looks like at your job.
A day in the life of my job. So I work in the Department of Development at Mayo Clinic, which is our philanthropic arm of the clinic, and I work closely in Principal Gifts with people whose desire is to make a deep impact on humanity through their philanthropy focused on patient care, research, and education. And so my days are varied, and that's one thing I love. There isn't a day that's the same. If I'm not traveling on business, it may begin with meetings between the department, our colleagues, or meetings with our benefactors in the clinic in person. And then maybe I'm jumping into an educational session in one of our institutional priorities. That could be online, a Teams or Zoom meeting with institutional leaders who are helping to teach me and others in our department more about our clinical work and research. That's very helpful for me. It's like continuing education so that when I'm speaking with our benefactors, I can more clearly explain our work. And then maybe I will have a general strategy meeting discussing how to match our benefactors' interests with our priorities. And then otherwise, I will be in phone calls and planning. So every day is a little different.
Tell me about your education journey. I know you got your BA from Hillsdale College and then your MA from Michigan State University. So tell me a little bit about what that looked like for you.
So right after Hillsdale, actually, I did 1 year teaching English in Japan. And then I returned for my master's in journalism at Michigan State. And that was a very positive turning point in my career. While there, I was actually working for a science magazine, working my way through, and I rediscovered a passion for science. And my master's was very helpful in terms of, first of all, I need to say that I chose to do an academic thesis because I was also trying to decide if I would get my PhD. And my thesis was on a biotechnology and the science of media. But anyway, while there, the courses that I took in statistics and economics, not only that, but the structure and writing and working in that manner, laid a very good foundation for the next steps in my career. While there, I had an incredible boss who one day sent me a posting for a fellowship opportunity at Harvard. I applied. I actually forgot that I applied. And then I received a phone call, and the rest, as they say, is history. I flew out for an interview. I actually met with 13 people, 13 different interviews for that fellowship opportunity, and then I moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts. So that was, I know this is a long answer, but all of these steps were so helpful to me in what I'm doing today.
And tell me a little bit about your time at Harvard, the different positions that you held, and why you valued that time so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm really grateful for it. So when my fellowship was actually in the Harvard News office, and while there, it was a one-year position, and it gave me broad exposure to different parts of the university. And, I would be interviewing Rhodes Scholars or interviewing a Nobel laureate and write about my work. Along the way, I discovered how closely intertwined alumni affairs and development are at a major worldwide university. I discovered how much I appreciated the work there. It was very positive news. And that was one thing that I was discovering about myself, is I really wanted to make a positive impact in my life and career. And the door opened and an opportunity unfolded when I finished my fellowship. I accepted a position in alumni affairs and development, and then worked my way through various roles, and then was offered a position in the Department of Development at the Kennedy School, and I worked through that. So those were a few of the steps along the way.
And then tell me about your transition from working at Harvard for such a long time to then working at Mayo Clinic, which is where you hold your position today.
Thank you. Great question. You're right. I was in the academic environment for almost 14 years. And then I was at a point in my career where I was looking for that next opportunity. And I also, as anyone would understand, I also wanted to be closer to my parents who are getting older. And I wanted to be able to see them more often. I was on the East Coast, and my parents are in Michigan. And I was thinking about all of these next steps. And as you can go through personal moments of where you want your next step to be. But I also had a clear path in my mind that I wanted to be with an institution that was on the world stage. And by that, I mean impact and breadth and all of the work the discovery that could happen in that way. And anyway, Mayo Clinic called, and they said, actually, the job that we're thinking of is at our campus in Florida. So Mayo Clinic is the largest integrated nonprofit medical group practice in the world. We have a campus in Jacksonville, Florida, a campus in Rochester, Minnesota, and a campus in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as an executive health program in London, England. Anyway, I accepted a position at our Florida campus. I was there for 3 years, and then I relocated to our major campus, our larger campus in Rochester, Minnesota. And so for me, choosing an organization that was on the world stage was very important to me. It was also the people that I would be working with and the type of work that I could do, the learning for me along the way. I've had an incredible career, and I love every minute of it.
Tell me a little bit more about the mission statement of Mayo Clinic and why you align with that.
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. So The mission of Mayo Clinic is the needs of the patient come first, and we have our primary goal is to cure, connect, and transform for the needs of patients. And so as we think about that and the type of work we do, I am deeply aligned with that personally. I could speak to you about the intrinsic value system of what it means to be a servant leader and work to serve others through your work. But also, I have a personal story in that I think people, when we work through our careers, we have our personal value system, and we also have the value system of the organizations for which we work. In my own life, my father was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease when he didn't expect it. He was in his early 60s. I was actually in Boston at this time, and autoimmune diseases are very challenging. There is no cure. There are various therapies that are work that alleviate symptoms, and people go on with their lives, but they can be very challenging. And when I started with Mayo, that journey for my family had started to unfold. And as I began working in my career, I discovered that research had an incredible power, as we all know, but once you're in it and you see the impact of that research in transforming medicine and providing hope and healing to patients, it becomes very real. For example, the latest cancer immunotherapy treatment, for which actually philanthropy can play a great role in making us move even faster. Where I'm headed with that is often cancer immunotherapies can be used, as they have been in the case for my dad's disease, to alleviate symptoms. And so with the advances in research today, I find a deeper, compelling reason for me to be even more passionate about my work.
While you were studying at Hillsdale, what did you major in, and were there any classes or professors that you particularly loved?
Oh, thank you. I hope you can sense the smile coming across my face right now. So I was an English major, and I had several favorite professors along the way, guiding stars, if you will. And I also had a few people in the administration I became very fond of and close to. I'm very fond of my former professor, Dr. Jim Stevens, in the Department of Philosophy. He was my advisor. I also enjoyed very much Dr. Dan Sundal in the Department of English, Dr. Robert Rice, and Dr. Sundal's wife, Ellen, actually was one of those figures in my life. She was in the development office there at Hillsdale. They have both since retired, but believe it or not, she became like a mentor to me, and I had no idea at the time that I would be going into philanthropy. And I have a few points in my career along the way that I could recap on, and I would put Ellen at that moment. When I was a student, I think it's the Department of External Affairs there, I was one of those student workers in her department assisting with philanthropy and development along the way. And when I always kept in touch when I left Hillsdale, I kept in touch with her. And when I moved to Boston, she connected me with her sister-in-law, who became a friend of mine. And so I would say Ellen, Dan, Jim Stevens, Bob Rice, and I know I'm forgetting others, but I still keep in touch with them.
What kind of involvements did you have while you were at Hillsdale?
I was in the Pi Beta Phi sorority. I was also president of Omicron Delta Kappa. I was in Lamplighters and also Sigma Alpha Iota and the college orchestra.
For students or alumni who are interested in going into the type of career that you have, should they be looking to secure any certain type of job or internship?
That's a great question, yes. Since I started my career, the world, obviously, it's a different pathway today than it was when I began more than 20 years ago. For those students who are interested in this, I would have a few points of advice along the way. Number one, if you're thinking of a master's degree, that is very helpful. And the Indiana University has a master's program, which they did not at the time. This was not a career path, so to speak, that you got a degree for. But now Indiana University has Eli Lilly School of Philanthropy. I would also highly recommend that a student volunteer for an organization that they're interested in, or get a mentorship through, such as a nonprofit in their region or their area, or maybe their alma mater. Start with your college, or if you choose to go to graduate school, also look in those departments. Philanthropy is a truly incredible career path, but it does require understanding the business, understanding what we do. Areas that I think would be marketable skill sets would include finance, economics. One significant part of our work involves estate planning. And so if let's say someone has a passion for accounting and they want to align their values toward a philanthropic role in their future, maybe they would be interested in estate planning or a combined law degree that would benefit their career path in that way. Philanthropy involves a passion for people, writing. I have a very strong writing background. It served me very well. My experience throughout the years in marketing, business, writing, events, all of this has combined to provide a very well-rounded focus. I would find that someone was really looking into this, seek out mentors, advisors along the way, and no matter what profession you choose. And, Lauren, I think one thing I would really love to share with people are to recognize and listen to the guiding stars along the way. It is not a linear path. And I would think that it wouldn't be a linear path in any career. We all think that there's a straight line, and it's not. And one thing I look back on over time is I was getting my master's at Michigan State. I had a fantastic thesis advisor. I was dead set on my academic thesis. I was very proud of it. I was excited and passionate. And one day, out of the blue, he said, "Have you ever thought of going into development?" And it took me back. I actually said no. I hadn't thought of it. And I couldn't believe he brought it up. And so fast forward, after I got my master's and I was working at Harvard, I was navigating through different roles. I was excited along the way. I was always doing something I enjoyed. And then I received encouragement. And I had a few people come up to me, "Hey, have you thought of going over here? You'd be really good at that. Hey, would you come work for me?" And I had two bosses. One of them pulled me aside in an elevator and said, "I'd like you to come work for me." And I did. And then his director came to me another point and said, "Okay, here's a path for you. It's a change, but I think you'd be great at it." And so what I tell anyone is recognize those moments, pay attention to them. I did. I didn't always know I was at the time, but I look back now over time and I see that those were really guiding stars of people who have been really important to me. and really helped me along and shaped a career path that I really love. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Lauren.
You have been listening to Beyond the Bubble, a podcast by Hillsdale College Career Services. This show is part of the Hillsdale College Podcast Network. More episodes at podcast.hillsdale.edu or wherever you find your audio. I'm Lauren Scott, and have a great day.
Hey there! Today I want to tell you about the Hillsdale K-12 Classical Education Podcast. This unique show explains how children benefit from an American classical education. Whether you're a teacher, student, or parent, you'll find something of value on the show. You'll hear from teachers and administrators from schools around the country, as well as Hillsdale professors and friends who are leading the effort to revive the American tradition of K-12 education. When you listen, you'll learn all about classical education, what it is, how to teach it, and why it matters today. And there are dozens of back episodes on specific topics, like teaching Singapore math, reading great books, and even understanding how athletics is critical to a child's development. Listen every Monday on podcast.hillsdale.edu. That's podcast.hillsdale.edu or wherever you find your audio.